Let's dive into 4 inspiring stories of women who accomplished extraordinary physical transformations. Hope these stories motivate you on your own path to change.
Story 1. How I affirmed my appearance to change. For the past 4 years, I have been using affirmations to manifest changes in my appearance, and I've experienced success. My current focus is on manifesting health improvements related to a medical condition. However, since I'm still working through some limiting beliefs, that change hasn't fully occurred yet. Still, I thought I'd share my process here. If you don't believe it, that's okay. Either try it for yourself or just leave it be. I'm confident it works. If you're experimenting with changing any aspect of your appearance, make sure it's not something you have strong resistance to. If you have a deep attachment to changing it, you might feel impatient or insecure, which can hold you back. It's important to approach this as a lighthearted experiment, rather than a desperate attempt to change something you feel you need. My journey with appearance changes began with affirmations. These had to be repeated daily until my mind started to wonder, why am I doing this? I already have this. It was a strange experience, but once I achieved the jawline I desired, it felt as though I had always had it. The same thing happened with my nose. I had been affirming for a straighter, upturned nose, and eventually, it felt like something I'd had all my life. Despite this, people would often comment, asking if I'd had a procedure done or if I'd gotten a nose job. It was odd to feel that I had always had these features, yet others didn't notice the same internal shift. Believing in your affirmations can cause you to feel like you've always had a feature, and you might fall into denial about the changes, especially if you keep checking for results. The key is to detach from the process. Don't obsess over the results. Here are 3 principles that helped me: detachment, persistence, and faith. Don't focus too much on observing the changes. Let it unfold naturally. Set a date for when you want to stop affirming, several months later. When that date arrives, ask yourself, was this different before? Believe that the change is taking effect, even if you don't see immediate results. I used this method to change several aspects of my appearance, including my jaw, nose, and even a part of my scalp that I thought was shedding hair, but has since regrown. I also noticed changes in my thighs, which became more toned in ways that exercise had never achieved. At one point, I wanted lighter eyes, so I visualized them as light as they would appear under sunlight. Although it didn't feel much different to me, people began commenting on my eye color, saying they appeared lighter. One thing I learned is that the changes won't feel different because you will embody them. When you believe in an affirmation, the thought becomes part of you. So it helps to set deadlines or reminders to acknowledge the shift from where you started. You can check your progress by looking at before and after pictures. I initially started doing this to boost my self-esteem before even knowing about biokinesis. Over time, I refined the affirmations I used, and I continued to adjust them based on what I want to manifest. These days, there are countless affirmations available for any goal. Do some research, find what resonates with you, and give it a try. Most importantly, always embody the feeling of being satisfied with the way you look as you imagine your affirmation.
Story 2. How I changed my physical appearance in just a few hours. Over the past year or so, I gained 22 pounds, and my doctors advised me to get my weight down to at least 130 pounds to address several health issues, including PCOD. This caused me a lot of distress. I would hear people tell me I looked fat or had gained weight, and I'd complain about it too. I tried various fad diets and workouts, but nothing seemed to work. Until yesterday, I was feeling pretty miserable about my weight. I kept repeating how fat I looked, staring at myself in the mirror, only seeing the flab and a bloated stomach. But this morning, it's evening now, I decided to try something different. I wrote a few affirmations and listened to them on loop for 10 minutes, 5 times. I'll be honest, I got distracted a lot, my mind wandered, and I even had imaginary arguments with people. But each time the weight loss affirmation came up, I would visualize my dream body. I felt calm and relaxed, not resisting the vision. I did the same for my skin, visualizing it as glowing and clear. Here are the affirmations I used. I am grateful for my beautiful, curvaceous, well-toned hourglass figure and body. I am grateful for my glowing, flawless, and wrinkle-free skin. Now here's the interesting part. In the afternoon, I met some friends for a meal. They kept complimenting my skin, saying how clear and glowing it looked. They even said it was the kind of skin they wanted. I couldn't stop smiling. Later, I sent a video of myself to 2 friends, a full-length video shot by someone else. Both of them replied, saying how much weight I had lost and how thin I looked. I was literally in shock, thinking, I need to write this success story right now. Here are my key takeaways. Relax and trust the process. This is what living in the end is all about. Release resistance. Have fun with your technique. I was walking around my room while listening to the audio, not fully concentrating, but I just had this feeling of knowing. Like Neville says, creation is done. I felt that certainty. Don't stress about how or when it will happen. Believe that you are the God and the operant power. So here I am, happy to share my success story. I'm looking at myself in the mirror now and I'm seeing my dream body. I'm so grateful for this transformation and excited to come back with more success stories soon.
Story 3, my physical appearance manifestations. Hi guys, I have been practicing the law for a while now and have had huge successes. I wanted to let you know that it is possible to manifest appearance changes. Here are some of the physical changes I've manifested. Feel free to ask any questions and I'll try my best to answer them. In the last couple months, I've manifested a smaller waist. I started with a 29-inch waist back in August and wanted to get it down to 26 inches. I'm not an active person and I hate exercising, so for me, this was a way to test the law. I remember scripting, my waist is so small, and I just measured my waist and it's 26 inches. Well, today I felt the urge to measure my waist and I was so surprised when I saw the number. It read 26 inches. I remember one day seeing this girl who looked absolutely beautiful without makeup. She had natural rosy cheeks and it looked like she was wearing natural eyeshadow all the time. When I saw her, I knew I wanted that look for myself. So again, I asked the universe for rosy cheeks and natural eyeshadow on my eyelids. And guess what? The universe delivered. Also, whenever I mention the universe, I want you to know that I am the universe. I know that I am the master of my reality. So I refer to myself as the universe. In essence, I've been asking myself for all these appearance changes. I've also manifested both weight loss and weight gain. As I mentioned, I'm not an active person and I absolutely hate working out. My starting weight was 115 pounds and I wanted to be 140. Once again, I made it clear to the universe that I wanted to be 140 pounds. I kind of forgot about it, and a couple of months later, when I went to a doctor's appointment, they told me I weighed 142 pounds. I didn't even notice the weight gain since I was just very happy with how I felt. The doctor was concerned about how much weight I had gained in such a short time and suggested I should be more active. I loved how my thighs and butt looked with the weight gain, but I wasn't happy with my stomach. It was too jiggly for my liking. So I asked the universe for a toned, flat stomach and for me to lose a couple of pounds to make my doctor less worried about my BMI. A couple of months later, when I was trying on new tops I bought online, I noticed my stomach looked great. It was completely flat. Another thing, my stomach also developed a very defined line down the center. It looks like I have abs, LOL. So in summary, I've manifested a smaller waist, high cheekbones, weight loss and weight gain, wider hips, hourglass shape, natural blush and natural eyeshadow, so it looks like I'm wearing makeup, more feet, thicker eyebrows and longer, thicker eyelashes, no more hangnails, clear, smooth skin. The reason I was able to manifest all of these things is because I have full faith in the universe. I suck up myself. I know these are manifestations, but I'm not entirely sure if I've been practicing the law of assumption or the law of attraction law. I just do what has always worked for me.
Story 4: Manifesting Super Fast Hair Growth. Today's post is my practical guide to manifesting physical changes quickly and effortlessly. I proved the law to myself many years ago, and since then I've created the most wonderful life for myself. SP, career, wealth, friendships and relationships, experiences, you name it, I've probably manifested it. At one point in my journey, however, I wanted to change the way I look, and so I wanted to change the way I felt. And this is what came true. Over the last couple of years, I've manifested a complete transformation in my body shape, increased height, changes in my nose shape and size, adjustments to my facial structure, higher cheekbones, a more defined jawline, a new chin shape, and plumper lips, and even health transformations. I used to suffer from migraines, PCOS, and insulin resistance, all of which are now completely healed. I love experimenting with the law. It's so fun to manifest physical improvements. For some of you, these manifestations might seem too superficial, and that's okay. But what can I say? Vanity is my favorite sin. One of my most recent experiments involves my hair. Back in October, I decided I really wanted to cut my hair about 10 centimeters shorter. I loved my super long hair, so I don't even know what came over me when I made the decision to cut it. The day after, I immediately regretted what I'd done, so I got to work. I wanted my old hair back. Here's what I did, which is what I usually do every time I want to manifest physical change. It all starts with entering a deep meditative state. You need to get yourself into a drowsy, relaxed state and imagine standing in front of the mirror. Then say something like, "Is this really me? I can't believe how fast my desired change happened. This is exactly what I did to grow my hair back quickly to its original length." In my case, I went one step further. I imagined getting dressed and feeling my hair get caught in the back of my jeans. Including as many senses as possible is incredibly helpful. As I've noticed, it speeds up the manifestation process. Once your mind is saturated with the feeling of your wish fulfilled, it's time to keep the Sabbath. During this period, focus all your inner conversations to reflect the wish fulfilled. Imagine people noticing the physical change you desired and commenting on it. Always carry out these conversations from the perspective of already having achieved your goal. To summarize, here's the method I use. Have a desire and create a scene. Imagine a vivid scenario that implies your wish is already fulfilled. Practice sats with the scene. Saturate your mind with the feeling of the wish fulfilled during a relaxed state. Keep the Sabbath. Use inner conversations that align with your desired outcome and avoid contradicting your manifestation. This method has been working for me for over 2 years. It's the only thing I do to manifest physical changes. It's the reason people often ask me if I've had a nose job or wonder how I stay in such great shape despite eating for 2. Wish you all the best in your manifestation journey.
Story 5: Manifesting clear skin. I thought I'd share another success story of mine regarding physical appearance. I believe this topic is of great interest to many people here, as it has been for me. In fact, it was the first thing I focused on when I joined this community a year ago. First, let me tell you, changing your physical appearance is simpler than you might think. This year, back in March, I reached a point where I was absolutely sick of the way my skin looked. I spent most of my time in front of the mirror, picking at my skin and obsessively checking for new pimples or blackheads to pop, ultimately worsening my skin's condition, my face, arms, back, even my legs. It didn't matter. I picked at my skin constantly. I tried all sorts of skincare products, but nothing worked. I even considered visiting a dermatologist, but my budget didn't allow for it. I felt both disappointed and desperate. I have to admit, I was scared to put the law of assumption into practice. I feared that my condition might worsen because at the time it felt like something deep in my mind was insisting it was impossible for my skin to clear up without me doing something about it. Despite my fears, I decided to try it anyway. I asked myself, what would I do if my skin were clear? My answer, I wouldn't spend so much time in front of the mirror, and I'd focus on other things. Ding ding. That realization was the turning point. I shifted my focus entirely. Instead of worrying about my skin, I started focusing on having clear skin. Over time, this shift felt completely natural. I'm not going to lie, it wasn't easy at first. I had to resist the urge to look in the mirror and analyze my skin. Each time the urge struck, I reminded myself, there's no need to do that because my skin is already clear. I persisted in this mindset until it felt natural. 6 months later, when I look back, I think, dang, it really worked. I haven't dealt with bad skin since that day in March. So, what did I do? I stopped focusing on the problem and started focusing on the solution, clear skin. I stopped telling myself I had bad skin, that I got pimples every other day, or that the only way to fix it was through expensive skincare products or dermatologist visits I couldn't afford. Instead, I told myself, my skin is so clear, it looks amazing, smooth, and radiant. By shifting to a state of having clear skin, I naturally stopped engaging in behaviors tied to my clearer products and my old mindset. Whenever negative thoughts tried to creep back in, I persisted. I treated the positive things I told myself as facts, which made the process feel effortless, not forced. Everything happened so naturally that I didn't even realize I was walking on what people call the bridge of incidence. To give you a brief backstory, kind of the root cause of this issue, I always had clear skin as a teenager until one day a close friend noticed something she thought was a pimple and popped it for me. Until that moment, I had no idea I could even get pimples. I was so used to having clear skin. But after that incident, the idea that I get pimples was planted in my mind. Until that, this happened because I trusted my friend completely and believed her words. That moment was a decade ago, and I only recently pieced everything together. With all that said, I encourage you to put these teachings into practice. You can have exactly what you want. The process happens so naturally that you might not even realize you're already walking on the bridge of incidents.